Hey guys, it's your favorite gout influencer. Happy Gout Awareness Day. I just found out today that May 22nd is Gout Awareness Day. I had no idea there was a day for gout. But I think this is actually a really important date because for the past month I've been telling people that I have gout and I get the same reaction. People usually say, oh, my great grandfather had that, or my great aunt, had that, or my great uncle had that. And they're usually referring to older people or people that might have been a little overweight or obese. That's the misconception, is that gout affects only people that are older or have bad diets, and that's just simply not the case. So this video, we're gonna talk a little bit about gout. We're gonna normalize the stigmas behind it because there really shouldn't be any. And we're gonna talk about some of the foods and tricks you can use to prevent a gout flare-up, and if you have one, how to relieve some of the symptoms.
Hey guys, BeFreeMySheeple.
About a month ago, I had my first onset of gout. They call it a gout flare-up when I was in Vietnam. Now, the ironic part is I was actually trying to stick to a healthy diet, and that's kind of what caused my first gout flare-up. I was in Vietnam on a little island called Phu Quoc, or as the locals pronounce it, Phu Woc. And every day I was having a fresh grilled fish, red snapper or barracuda. So for 3 days I was eating pretty large fresh fish, and on the fourth day when I woke up, my entire right foot was completely swollen. It was inflamed. It felt like it was on fire. It was throbbing. And even the touch of a bed sheet just sent pain through my entire body. So I was really confused about what happened. So ultimately, I went to the doctor to get some blood work done in Vietnam, and they saw that I had elevated uric acid. So what happened exactly was that fish contains a chemical called purines. Now, the one thing I don't get is purines sound like such a positive thing. I had no idea that it can cause such a negative reaction in the human body. And what happens is when your body has an overload of purines, or if you have non-functioning, low-functioning kidneys, it results in a buildup of a byproduct called uric acid. Now, normally healthy kidneys in a healthy person or someone who has a moderately low diet of purines, they can handle the amount of purines and their body can process the uric acid. But in the case that you've overdosed on purines, what happens is that uric acid pools, and the first place it usually goes is in your right big toe, and it forms these crystals. So if you could imagine putting crystals into your big toe, that's what gout feels like. And I'm gonna show you guys a picture right now of what gout feels like. So you see that, there's a blowtorch, there's a plier, there's a nail. It felt like all of those things. I do not wish for a gout attack on even my worst enemies. So in the spirit of Gout Awareness Day and trying to help my audience avoid gout, seriously guys, the best way is preventative. I wanted to talk about some strategies and tips you can use to avoid gout. And I turned to my Facebook group, my gout awareness support groups, to give me some additional feedback. The one thing I do want to add, gout actually is hereditary. So a lot of people don't know that. They think that it's based on poor nutrition or bad diet or being overweight. While that definitely can cause a flare-up, the actual onset of gout is built and coded into your DNA. So a lot of you who might be healthy, kind of like me, young, kind of like me, you might get gout one day and it would just completely confuse the hell out of you, like what's going on with my foot. So that's what happened to me. Now let's talk about some tips to avoid getting gout through nutrition and water. All right guys, so this is one of the gout groups that I'm a big fan of. It's a community on Facebook that has been a huge help in terms of treatment and ideas and nutrition and shortcuts that people are sharing to either prevent gout or while they're having a flare-up, how to manage the flare-up. So let's see what some of the tips the community shared for this video. My friend Umut Dogan from Istanbul, Turkey says lots of water, sports, sex, cherry fruit, and celery, ginger, turmeric. So let's talk about that. He is absolutely right. Having a lot of water is one of the ways to avoid gout. They recommend that you have anywhere between 3 to 4 liters of water a day. And what this does is this helps your body to flush out the uric acid to minimize the risk of having an attack. Sports is also a great way to avoid gout because when you play sports, whatever you're doing, basketball, weightlifting, running, exercise, whatever it is, you're going to burn calories and it's going to help you manage your weight. Having a healthy weight is one way to avoid gout. And yes, sex is one of the best ways to avoid not just gout, but a lot of different diseases. It's been well documented how many benefits a healthy sex life has. And I'm gonna read some of them right now real quick, including keeping your immune system healthy, boosts your libido, improves women's bladder control, so sex isn't just for men, women too, lowers your blood pressure, counts as exercise, that goes back to the weight loss, lowers heart attack risk, lessens pain, and may make prostate cancer less likely. So if you're not having a lot of sex or you're in a sexless marriage, just think about how many health benefits you're missing out on. And then on the nutrition side, he talked about cherry, tumeric, celery. He's absolutely right. Cherry is one of the most well-documented fruits in terms of battling gout. It helps the body manage and flush out the uric acid. Same for celery. And also turmeric. The reason why that's good is because it minimizes inflammation. And one of the symptoms of having gout is you have massive inflammation. I literally couldn't put socks on when I was having my attack flare-up. Speaking of tart cherry and celery, I discovered on Amazon.com is Gout Plex by Mount Angel Vitamins. Check it out. These are capsules that have tart cherry and celery seeds. So they're vegetarian, which is great for the vegetarians out there. And this really helps. I take one in the morning, I take one in the evening, and that's the recommended dose. So I highly recommend getting Gout Plex if you have gout. It's good to prevent flare-ups, or if you're having one, it also can help you minimize the symptoms and quickly recover as fast as possible. Beer, what a great last name, says avoid processed meats like hot dogs, and Levy Wanzek says black cherry extract helps. Ironically, Cindy's last name is Beer, and as we all know, beer is one of the biggest defenders of a gout flare-up. For some reason, beer has a lot of purines, so if you have gout or you've had gout and you want to flare up, drink beer. If you don't want to flare up, try to avoid beer. Personally, I always avoid beer because in my experience, it makes me pee all night long. It takes a long time for me to feel buzzed because it's a relatively weak alcohol. And I just feel bloated when I drink beer, plus the calorie count. I'm trying to stay lean, and as we all know, beer is one way to get a beer gut. So she's right, avoid processed meats like hot dogs. Also, you have to avoid a lot of internal organs of animals. So if you enjoy eating liver, you really can't eat that anymore. Processed foods is definitely a big no-no. And then Levi said black cherry extract helps. Once again, he's right. That is one of the best supplements you could take for gout. Shellfish can also cause a gout flare-up, or in my case, fresh fish. The one food that they say is actually safe for people that have gout is salmon. So I'm very happy because salmon's already my favorite fish. So now I have more an excuse to eat even more salmon, which is great. And fortunately for me, coffee and skim milk are two foods that you can happily enjoy to avoid gout. So I'm gonna continue to drink 3 to 4 cups of black coffee a day with a splash of skim milk. Goodbye, gout. And lastly, some additional tips. If you have a gout flare-up and it's active, one thing they recommend is to use ice and elevate your foot to prevent the blood going into your foot and making it even more aggravated. The other thing is to avoid stress. Stress can actually contribute to a gout flare-up, so it's really important to try to manage your stress, minimize your stress, and try to live as stress-free as possible. So anyway, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have gout, I feel your pain because I have it too. Luckily for me, I've only had one flare-up a month ago, and now I'm fully recovered, and I hope that I never have another flare-up again because seriously, gout is one of the most painful things I've experienced in my entire life. So if you guys have any more comments or any more tips, leave the comments below, ask me any questions, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I'm not a doctor, but I can consult them for a future video if the questions get too intense for me. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Happy Gout Awareness Day. Be free, my sheeple.
Hey guys, be free, my sheeple.